If we love ourselves and deeply feel that love and deeply live that love, we cannot be defeated. Alice Walker. Thank you for joining us for our 19th episode of Sex, Drugs, and Spirituality as we dive deep into the realm of sexual toys, exploring their history and how they contribute to sexual pleasure and spiritual well-being. But before we dive into our main topic, please allow us a moment to introduce ourselves. I'm Jackie Lyons of Akashic Energy Healing.
And I'm Elizabeth Maria of Elizabeth Maria Unlimited. And together, we're the hosts of Sex, Drugs, and Spirituality, where we navigate the power of personal growth and self-discovery through exploration and acceptance of our shadow selves. So welcome, friends. As Jackie said, today we are diving deep into the realm of sexual toys. So despite their prevalence in popular culture, there is still a major stigma surrounding sexual toys, and many people still feel uncomfortable discussing them openly. But here on Sex, Drugs, and Spirituality, we believe in exploring and transmuting the shadows and promoting open, honest conversations. So sexual toys have been around for centuries. There's evidence that dates back to ancient civilizations, from ancient Greek olive oil based lubricants to Chinese jade dildos. Humans have always sought ways to enhance their sexual experiences. So here's a short history that we compiled of sexual pleasure tools. So according to Sky History, a 7.8-inch phallus made from siltstone was found in Germany in 2005. At approximately 28,000 years old, it predates agriculture by around 13,000 years. Wow, guys, this is the oldest to date known sex tool. And also, according to Sun, ancient sex toys were discovered in the tombs of aristocrats from the ancient Han dynasty, which ruled about 2,000 years ago. They recovered two hollow bronze phallus-shaped objects, which appeared to have been worn as massive strap-on dildos.
Well, as a side note, according to Sky History, the word dildo was actually originally used in 1400 AD, and it was derived from the Latin term dilatrate, which means wide open, or the Italians, delito, or delight.
Yeah. I mean, talk about bronze phalluses being wide open for delight.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
Right?
This is what it is. Well, there was also a giant jade butt plug that was among the items that were discovered by archaeologists in China. They do also, side note again, is they did think that the butt plug was for burial rituals, keeping those fluids from leaking out of the body. But nonetheless, there was butt plugs that far back in time as well. So
right.
They also want to kind of point out that they had located cock rings actually going back to the 3rd century, and the male nobility, they would use these rings, and they were made, creepishly enough, from the islands of goats, and they still had their eyelashes intact, and that would kind of hold in the pleasure a little bit longer, or is said to hold in the pleasure a little bit longer. You guys, we live in the golden era of sex toys. So if you're still using your goat lash cock ring, we have upgraded since the 3rd century.
We have.
Yeah, there's better options out there. Yeah. So at the same period as well in India, the Kama Sutra depicted the use of, God, what's that word?
I believe it's apodravius.
And well, the definition or the breakdown of this was like a tubular object that is actually tied around the penis, and this is thought to enlarge and lengthen the penis, and this will, you know, in the man's mind, or the possibility is to increase a man's libido. And they were fashioned with a strap with an impressive extension of gold or ivory or silver had been attached. And when I was reading this one, it reminded me of the Austin Powers, you know, pump it up thing. Pump it up. That's kind of where my head went to it. It was like the extendo or whatever he had there, but that's kind of what I was thinking the newer version might look like.
Right. And you know, I was actually also thinking, because, and this is something that we don't really talk too much about in this episode, but like the, you know, the penis pumps, like I was thinking that too, girl. So, you know, I mean, sex toys are for women and men, guys, you know.
They are. And it's funny because at the beginning when you were saying, you know, it's not talked about openly enough, and I can find ourselves, like, even when you're out, the history of it, it just makes you kind of giddy and smiley, and like to hear about these things. So it is a topic that's all too often not talked about. So I'm glad we're doing it. I'm glad we're bringing it to the light of day. But yeah, so I want to kind of just move forward a few centuries. And Rachel Littlewood discusses in the article that the 18th century, in 18th century France, oh my God, Tremesser? Is that what this is? This first vibrator ever was called the Tremesser? It sounds so fancy. Ooh, because it's the Francais, right? I honestly, do not take me to French. I will butcher that language. But, this vibrator, it was portable, and it winds up. Like one of those wind-up toys. But unfortunately, as we all don't finish within the fastest of time of the wind-up toy, it tended to run out a little too early for the women in France back in that days. And by the late 1860s, they created some water power alternatives, and these can be hooked up to your sink or your bathtub. In those days, and as the advertisement guaranteed that it would just take a couple minutes, and I'm sure they were so happy when that toy came out. And it's being used today too. Is like, wasn't that like a natural hookup to your bathtubs? Those standalone, you got the hookup.
I was totally thinking that too, and I guess like the water powered alternatives actually turned into like those shower nozzles that you could just take off, you know, with the long hose. I mean, that's definitely the evolution of that invention.
Yeah. I was feeling the same thing. Yeah.
Wow. So moving on, finally, in America, and this is so funny, an inventor by the name of George Taylor created the steam-powered manipulator in 1869. Wow. And that's, I just think it's so funny that it's steam powered, because it was right around the same time as, like, you know, the steam engine. So he was like, wait a minute, this can be used for something else too.
Hey, get you steamed up while you're steaming up. Like, it's a nice double entendre.
But it was the British inventor, Dr. Joseph Granville, who is credited with creating the first electromechanical vibrator in 1880. And folks, this predates the first electric irons and vacuum cleaners by close to a decade.
So they knew what was important in the back then. They had a better understanding of it than I think we have kind of reshaped it in our society.
Absolutely. So it was more important for personal pleasure than to make sure those shirts were ironed, guys.
No one cares if your shirts are wrinkled, as long as you have that glow, right?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. So, guys, apparently sex toys used to be displayed quite proudly in the home until the first porn movies of the 1920s began to make sex toys more taboo. So fast forward 50 years, and sex toys almost became synonymous with porn. Thus, they became secret toys, kept in boxes under beds or in drawers where the good company could not see.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now I kind of seeing it with because the porn industry really did have that way of kind of shaping the narrative into this, I don't know, that exactly this more taboo. It's not the sanctity of the love and the marriage and this union. It's this, publicly scrutinized thing on a movie. Yeah. Interestado. But sex toys have had a spiritual resurgence more recently. In 2011, Vanessa Kucha has created the shock rubs. And these are sex toys that are made of different crystals for different sexual and spiritual healing issues. She explains in Refine 29 that indigo crystals have the ability to open up the throat chakra, and this will help to improve communication between couples. And another one would be rose quartz, which has this really peaceful energy that will help the individuals heal as they masturbate or use the shock rubs with their partner. And in the article, she really instructs owners to develop an intimate and deep connection to their shock rubs by sleeping with them, and putting your crystal dildo under your pillowcase or holding them up against your body, just to really signify and link that energy together. So interestingly enough, I had a chance to look them up and look at how beautiful they are, and she has some really interesting designs, and not too far off my thoughts for the future of kind of utilizing some of her work.
Yes, absolutely. I think that she definitely hit a gold mine here with her shock rubs. I also have had a chance to go on and, read a little bit about these different, more spiritually based sex toys. And it really makes sense to me. I mean, as someone that, works with crystals and the healing power of crystals, it just makes sense that different crystals formed into her shock rubs would have an energetic connection with the body. So I think that it's an awesome idea, and I can't wait to become a client,
a shock rubber,
a shopper, a shock rub shopper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as well as the shock rubs, there are some other spiritual sex toys companies now out on the market, such as tantric tools. So they sell items such as crystal yoni wands and yoni eggs. And so yoni wands are basically crystal dildos, but yoni eggs have a long history and are part of the Taoist sexual yoga methodology. And they're designed to help strengthen and tone the vaginal and pelvic floor muscles. I'm doing my Kegels as I speak right now.
Certain.
Yoni eggs have been used in the Taoist tradition for thousands of years, guys. And they're used to help cleanse the energy of previous lovers, tone the vagina, and also to help women enter blissful orgasmic states. And some also say that yoni egg practices can create pathways to self-empowerment and increased intuition.
I have to say, because you had brought this up on a previous episode, the yoni eggs, and I had started looking into it then specifically for pelvic floor healing as well. And I do have a set in my Amazon cart, and at some point I will be getting those shipped over. I'm just waiting for the right moment or the right thought, but it's there, it's in the cart. So I'm excited to kind of move into a more holistic approach to the pelvic floor therapy.
Yes, absolutely. And I have also this is, I have not tried the yoni eggs. I was actually introduced to the concept, I guess about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, on a woman's retreat. And really to help with the pelvic floor muscles is a very, important reason that people use the yoni eggs, but also this idea of self empowerment and increased intuition, which really that resonates with me and makes sense that as we get in touch with our own sexual spiritual energy, that is going to help us increase our intuition, right? Which is really, that it's that gut level, that heart level response to our inner knowing or whatever. So I really thought that was beautiful. And I do not have yoni eggs in my Amazon account yet, but I will.
It is been a journey to get
Yes.
to this point. So, I mean, it is that as well speaks to me, the harnessing the sexual energy for improvements in my life. And I do believe that, that being this incredibly powerful energy has the ability to transform my experience. And just as we touched on our last episode, really utilizing that for a benefit of me and being able to utilize different tools in order to facilitate that is definitely something I'm open to experiencing going forward.
Absolutely. And, friends, I know that Jackie and I will get into later episodes where we really begin to look at sex magic and sexual transmutation, as discussed in Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. And so this is just the beginning of our own exploration into, really the power of harnessing your own sexual energy. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun to, research these topics. And honestly, even within researching and, Jackie and I talking about this together has been an empowering experience for me, just to like say it out loud.
Yeah, exactly. And it is a big part of my journey to be able to feel comfortable with myself in an intimate way. And I have to say, without the awareness that I have gained through the learning of the research of these shows, I don't know if I would have felt as comfortable as I did to, taking those steps to really connect to myself at that deep level. And it was a successful endeavor. And I'm happy to say that this show has once again proved very beneficial for me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no complaints, right? No complaints.
Yeah. Yes, it is definitely a journey. And guys, listening out there, I mean, there's no reason that talking about sex toys needs to be a taboo subject, I mean, we have tools for all kinds of things in life. So why not have tools to help with that sexual connection, not like with a partner, but I feel more importantly with ourselves, right? To be able to feel that that trust, that comfort within ourselves, to be able to begin exploring sexually. It's a beautiful thing. And like Jackie said, it's a powerful tool. So
And
yeah.
somebody had said to me once that if you're not and you can't be comfortable with yourself and your own energy, you won't be able to feel comfortable with a partner. And that really stuck out to me because I was really shy, even by myself, talking about sex or talking about sex toys. It would get giddy. And so, yes, it was becoming comfortable just alone before, beginning to expand on that. But I think this is a great way to reconnect to parts of ourselves that we might not even know exist or might have got kind of lost along the way.
Absolutely. And I also wanted to mention that, we talked about this in the episode about aphrodisiacs, that, I think that this would be a wonderful pairing, like cook
Yeah.
yourself aphrodisiac, chakra cleansing
It
dinner.
is what I did. Because I took your bath ritual that you provided us on a previous episode. I'm telling you guys, this podcast is my life. I'm going back to old episodes to pick up stuff to help me now. But that's what I did. And I honestly, and I'm going to tell you, I had a conversation with my lovely lady down there, and I let her know that she might not have been appreciated before. She might have been hurt. Somebody hurt her before, that I wasn't going to do that, that I was going to love and appreciate her for who she is. And she was okay to just relax and enjoy the moment. And, I literally, I was sweet talking a man, I'm just like, I'm going to coerce you out of your comfort zone a little bit. And I'm going to show the respect that's deserved, because that is my gift to myself. And it couldn't have been better. I mean, it'll probably just continue to get better, but the results were amazing, and I got what I needed from the experience, and I'm really happy about it. I'm happy to share it with you guys in this way.
Thank you so much, Jackie, just for your vulnerability and, hey, for plugging, going back to some of our old episodes to get tips.
Thank you, because it was your advice, actually, that was there. And, it wasn't, like I said, might have not been ready at that moment, but the information is there and was ready when I needed it. And, it doesn't leave your mind. Like anything you learn, that's what I find. Like it's not, you think it might not be there, but it pops back up when you need it for your journey. And it wasn't for not to, there was a lesson or a reason for it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And what just popped into my head is that, we see what we're meant to see when it's the time to see it, and so how beautiful. I just love it. And I'm just in awe constantly. I'm not surprised anymore, but I am just constantly in awe the way that universe works through us, works through this podcast, to allow us to continue on this beautiful and so important healing journey. Oh, I just love it.
Oh, well, I think that's great. And it takes us right to the end. So I want to thank each and every one of you guys for joining us today as we unveiled the world of sexual toys. I want you to remember that pleasure is a natural and beautiful part of the human experience. So embrace it, explore it, and most of all, enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Exactly. Enjoy it, because we have went far too long without enjoyment in that sense. Well, I know I have. So if you guys have any other questions for us to explore on our show or any other questions concerning our podcast, feel free to reach out to us at sexdrugsandspiritualitypodcast@gmail.com.
And if you'd like to contact us about our individual client offerings, please click the link in our description and be sure to mention that you heard about us on Spotify. And we so look forward to connecting with our community at 11 p.m. EST every Saturday on Spotify to explore and integrate the shadow side of our reality.
Love and light, friends.
Love and light. Bye.
Sex, Drugs, and Spirituality Podcast. Elizabeth Maria, Unlimited LLC. And Jackie Lyons of Akashic Energy Healing is not responsible nor liable for any advice, course of treatment, diagnosis, or any other information, services, or products that you obtain through this website.